in March of the year 2000. Currently, we see caps are melting at a rapid rate. Alrighty, from the year 2000, we found what we were to do 12 years after, in the year 2012, because when we heard that the poles were shifting, we ran down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon to have a supine land that's in the Four Corners area. So we ran to safety, and down there, that's when we found out that it took 12 more days for it to align. We met with the elders and we talked about this, and we knew it was like 12 years before this culmination. So the future and the past lies, so we know what to do from our actions in the past. This is ancient wisdom. So from the year 2000, we found what we were to do 12 years later. In the year 2012, move to the area of the Four Corners. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. This is what we did when the poles first began to shift, because we did not know. This being the first unfolding of the two ones. That was in the year 2000. This begins the first unfolding of the two ones. The next year, 2001, we saw the two of 2000 manifest as twins. The two ones, the pillars or towers, as a door or gateway to future change. Note that 9/11/2011 has within it 6 ones. 2 are hidden within the number 2 of the year. These 6 ones represent the end of a 6,000-year rule of what we call Illuminati or Bohemian or Roman. 6 days after 9/11/20, i.e. 6 days after 9/11/2001, on 9/17/2001. That's when that rule officially ended. 6 days after the 9/11 incident, when the door opened, 6 days after that was the official end of the rule of the Illuminati. That was on 9/17/2001. This is revealed by a mathematical inch code called the Jewish inch code on the walls of the Great Pyramid. Now, 11/11/2011, directed by the Vector of Pyramid 3 at Tikal, Mexico, the Pyramid of the Jaguar Priest, I was informed by the Vector, the mathematical code, to go to warm mineral springs, and you would review my videos and you would follow this. You would follow this teaching. My teaching is in a certain order. And when I went into the vortex of the pool there, directed by the pyramid at Tikal, I looked directly into the sun and received certain information. And what I received, one of the things I received, is called the spin and the counter spin of 11/11/2011. So what I would like for you to do is close your eyes, if you would, your physical eye, if you would, and look into your third eye. From the darkness, on the dark chalkboard of your mind, using the white chalk of your imagination, write from left to right the number 1, then the number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is the spin. That's from left to right. Then write the counter spin. Start on your right. The number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You're going backwards. Okay, now we are to pair these sums. Now note, when we pair, i.e. we will compare these numbers And the sum of these numbers will give us 12 every time. Let's say if we add 11 and 1, we get the number 12. If we add the number 10 and 2, we get the number 12. We will add the number 9 and 3, we'll get the number 12, and on until 11. If we pair the numbers, we get the number 12. And this means that the year 2012 be the culmination of the polar I shift. So now we're going to go a little deeper into this, and we will see why we have been seeing the number 11. So if we multiply, we wrote the 11 numbers, the spin and the counter spin. We wrote from 1 to 11, then wrote it backwards, 1 to 11, and we paired those numbers and we got the number 12. So that's 11 numbers. So what we'll do is we'll multiply 11 times 12 and we'll come up with the number 132. Notice that 132 equals 6, so we still see the 6,000 years here. The end rule, time is up. So place that number 132 in the back of your mind, the corner of your mind somewhere. Say it's Roots teacher. Send it to the corner for a while. Let it stand on one foot. Put a dunce cap on it for a minute. Hold tight. So the number 132, we will multiply that by 12, and we will get the number 1584. So basically this points to the calendar change. Now all this is came from the ascension point while in the pool there, Warm Mineral Springs. So the year 1584 shows up, and we multiply 12 times 132. Now this shows the calendar change. Note that on January 7th was the last day. January 7th, 1584 was the last day of the Julian calendar in Bohemia and the Holy Roman Empire. When the switch came, well, the Julian calendar started where they took off 11 days from the month of February, and after the 17th they started March the 1st. So the 11 is branded in our minds genetically, etc., from that calendar change. So basically that's why this number keeps showing up. And also if you look at the Maya sun calendar, you see the number 11 also. So it's embedded in the genetic code of the universe, really. January 17th, Bohemia adopts the Gregorian calendar. January 22nd, we're talking about the year 1584. January 22nd, parts of Switzerland adopted the Gregorian calendar, and the other part in 1812. November 23rd, English Parliament throws out the Jesuits of Bohemia. So we know that the Bohemia basically means an unconventional community, a community of artists, etc. So we've all heard of Bohemian Grove, the meeting place of the elite in the forests of Northern California, but we're talking about, which has a connection with ancient Bohemia over there in the Greece and Rome and all that kind of thing. So the year 132 was a leap year starting on a Monday. So the change of the calendar has to do with the leap year and the equinox there and Easter and all this kind of thing. Do your research. This is of the Julian calendar. This year we're talking about AD 132. Remember I told you to keep that number in your mind. AD 132 also marked the second Palestinian Jewish revolt of Bar Kokhba against the Roman rule in Judea under General Julius Severus. This was the fall of Jerusalem and then Bethar, a fortress on the seacoast south of the Caesarea, where Bar Kokhba was slain. Now Bar Kokhba rose up against the Roman Empire, but he was later crushed. So we see this number 11 is also about revolution. It's about change, changing the current system. So we see time tell this story. Although the rebellion was crushed in 135, And so Jews were then forbidden to enter into Jerusalem. But you saw what they did. They kept on fighting. They kept fighting. They finally got a state there in Israel. Their poets got together and they devised a scheme, and they came up with their freedom and they became very prosperous people. So we see a model here. So this 11 reveals a lot to us. So as we were saying, the second Jewish revolt, AD 132 until 135, the Jewish rebellion against the Roman rule in Judea. The revolt was preceded by years of clashes between the Jews and the Romans in the area. Finally, in AD 132, the misrule of Tinius Rufus, the Roman governor of Judea, combined with the Emperor Hadrian's intention to found a Roman colony on the site of Jerusalem, and his restrictions on the Jewish religion's freedom of observance. He got mad at them because they were practicing male circumcision, and he banned that. But the reason the Jews were practicing male circumcision was because the Anunnaki were that way. So they were mimicking the Anunnaki. They were saying that they were royal bloodline, and so they all wanted to be circumcised. So the Romans knew that they were depicting them, the Jews were depicting themselves as gods, mimicking the Anunnaki. So they said, no, we can't have that. So we see here that the number 11 is also about physical revolution. We're talking about a messianic revolution. This revolt is from the scrolls of the elders, the rabbis, who wrote about the new heaven and the new earth, and they said that it would be ushered in amongst catastrophe. So this is from the apocalyptic literature, like the Mishnah in AD 200. So you are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. So also, I wish you to note that 11 days after 11/11/2011, Elohim aligns again with the earth and the sun for the final time. To sum up the 11 in our minds, we find out that it comes from the changing of the calendar. So I say again, Elohim aligns again with the earth 11 days after 11/11/2011. You're now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming.